Honorable members, let us pray. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic. Endow members of Parliament and ministers of state with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labors of government, this land and people may be well and truly served, and that good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it might be, a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people, that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honorable members, whilst we were very busy on Friday trying to put ourselves to take a decision, two important motions for the consideration of the presidential nominees, ministers, and one deputy minister, and the other the Supreme Court. One of our own collapsed and had to be rushed to the hospital. You recall, during the course of the voting, the majority leader drew our attention to the absence of that member. This morning, I've been informed that our colleague couldn't make it. And he has transited to the other world. Honorable members, I'm referring to no less a person than the late Philip Baswa, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Kumewu. I think it's proper we observe a minute's silence in memory of him. And so I crave your indulgence for us to do so now, before we proceed with the other items. 1 minute silence, please. May the soul of the late Philip Basua, former member of Parliament for the constituency known as Kumewu, rest in perfect peace. Amen. I think I don't need to remind members about how we should try to reduce the stress that we go through in trying to represent our people. I don't need to emphasize the need for us to do continuous medical check. And I don't need to remind us that the rule is that you should not sit at one place for more than 2 hours, myself inclusive. And so please, when I'm suspending the House, you should understand. The Speaker should not be on the chair continuously for more than 2 hours. It's unhealthy. He came to the House and he was strong. At least he was ready to come in to vote. And whilst we were haggling, he just collapsed. And here we are now. You know, immediately you are no more. The people start thinking about replacing you. I made it clear at Formina when we went for the funeral of one of our former colleagues. I met the constituents wearing the T-shirts of the aspirants, not of the late Member of Parliament. And I recall saying there that if ever happened to me, which will not happen, and you did that and came to my funeral, I will take you away. Don't worry, it won't happen, so I won't take any of you away. So please, let's take our health seriously. Honorable members, I also received a message from His Excellency, the President, which I will, as usual, read to you. It's dated 27th March 2023, and it reads, Mr. Speaker, absence from Ghana. In Article 9 of the Constitution, I write to inform you that I will be traveling outside the country today, 27th March 2023, to New York, USA, at the invitation of His Excellency President Felipe Jacinto Nyusi, President of the Republic of Mozambique, and the President of the United Nations Security Council for the month of March, to participate in the United Nations Security Council debate on the theme Threats to International Peace and Security Caused by Terrorist Acts, Countering Terrorism and Preventing Violent Extremism through Strengthening of Cooperation between the United Nations and regional organizations, to be held on 28th March 2023 at the UN Security Council, New York. I will also be the guest speaker at the first meeting of the United Nations Senior African Group, to be held on 29th March 2023 at the invitation of its chair, the Executive Director of UNAIDS, Winnie Bua Nyima. Whilst in New York, I will join on 29 March 2023 other world leaders to participate in the second Summit for Democracy Virtual Leaders Plenary Session, to be hosted by the United States President, His Excellency Joseph Biden. I will return to Ghana in the evening of Saturday, 1st April 2023. During my absence, the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahmudu Bawumia, shall, in accordance with Article 68 of the Constitution, act in my stead. Yours sincerely and best wishes, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Honourable members, we now move to item 4, correction of votes and proceedings and official report. We will start with the correction of votes and proceedings of Friday, 24th March 2023. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Page 8. Yes.
Speaker, I raised this matter before, and it's thought to have been corrected somehow by using permission. I speak of, in respect of the member listed at item number 3, that's my brother James Kwesi. Mr. Speaker, the votes and proceedings which constitute part of the Hansard will be the memory of the House. Mr. Speaker, my difficulty with the use of describing the absence of my brother Kwesi has been permitted by you. It's troubling me, because I know that even within our rules, you can permit a member up to a period. But it appears that perpetually we are saying that he's absent pursuant to your permission. But truly, that is not the case. That is not the case. His absence is as a result of a court order. And so I prefer that the record will reflect that it is not you who has permitted him to be absent. It is rather a court injunctive order until such time that it is vacated. It's a big trouble for me that perpetually we keep saying it's absent as a result of Speaker's permission. And when tomorrow this matter becomes a source of research, it may show that for an infinite time you permitted the member, if the person has no recourse, penalties of this matter. So I want to suggest that it should reflect that the absence is as a result of an injunctive order pursuant to a court. Please, members, please allow me. This is a house of record. Let's deliberate on the matter. That is why I'm saying I rise for guidance on the matter. So, Mr. Speaker, if you guide me, the House, myself and the House will be guided. But the use of the permission as coming from you, when actually that is not the case, is a problem for me. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, Honorable Mama Yaga.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my understanding is that when a member has a court order injuncting the person from attending Parliament, that person will apply to your good self for permission to absent himself or herself from the sitting on the basis of the court order. And if you so grant such a request, the records will show that the person absented himself with the permission of Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I don't know, your further guidance on the matter will be appreciated, but I thought that a court cannot by itself, the court order cannot be recorded here. It has to be your permission based on the court order. Mr. Speaker, I think that's my view of the matter raised by my honorable colleague.
Well, honorable members, I don't recollect this matter was raised when I was on the chair. I'm sure maybe it was raised when my colleagues, one of the deputy speakers, was presiding. But you know our rules provide for only 2 occasions. 1, you can absent yourself without permission. And 2, with the written permission of the Speaker. So that permission must be in writing. The situation we are faced with is an interim order. That is why when I hear people talk about him being deemed to have been disqualified and therefore ceased to be a member of Parliament, I sympathize with them because they lack information. The case is still pending, so what the court did was to give an interim order. And that interim order is not final. And so it's difficult for the Speaker to come between a member of Parliament and the order from the court. He drew my attention to the order, and I insisted that I be served on your behalf with the order. It took a long time before the interim order was served on me. And when I read the wording of the interim order, I realized that he was asked not to hold himself up as the member of Parliament for the constituency. That is the order, simplicity, interim order. And so it meant that pending the final determination of the case, please, you are injuncted from holding yourself as. And so if at the end of the case, you win your case, you are back as the member of Parliament, not through election again. And so that is the situation while he is still hanging around, but not holding himself as a member of Parliament. And so I couldn't come between him and the interim order. And that is not covered by our rules. But impliedly, he's been given permission. And that's why the clerks at table, together with the official reporting, decide to use with permission. It cannot be without permission. And so I think it's proper, and it should continue to be like that. If not, as we really stated, if you look at the Constitution, after a period of time, he would have been deemed to have vacated his seat, which will not be correct legally. So that's the guidance I can give the House. I am not a judge, but that's my understanding of the law, which I use to guide the House. So let's proceed. Honorable members, page 9. Page 10. Page 11.
The votes and proceedings. I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member, I totally agree with you, and I was just directing the head of the table to do so. It should be captured. Was the number on the register 275, 3 absent, so 272 exercise their franchise. That should be captured so that when you are adding what is appearing against each minister designate, you get to know why that number. Yes, Honourable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to make a point in support of the Honourable Okuto's point, but also to say, Mr. Speaker, that perhaps instead of putting in there at page 11 that you indicated the electoral college was 272, we should rather be amending the portion labeled abstention. Mr. Speaker, you see that Roman number I on page 11, abstention for Honourable Kobina Tahir Hammond is 1. So that should be 3. And Mr. Speaker.
No.
Mr. Speaker, if I may finish. When you look at page 8, it says that, paragraph 4, the following honourable members were absent. And you have 2 people absent. Then you have item 3, you have 1 person also absent with permission. So even without your statement, the record supports his point that 3 people were absent. And therefore, in giving the tally, I thought that should reflect. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, so that should reflect after my statement declaring the results. That should come before the results. But when you were referring to abstention, that's why I was saying no, because the abstention is different from the absentees. The abstention, the person went there to vote, but decided to abstain from voting in respect of that candidate. So you see that they don't mark yes or no. So they've abstained, but in some of the boxes they mark. And that's why they put those abstentions. Honorable members, page 12. Page 13. Page 14. Page 15. Honorable members, in the absence of any further corrections, the votes and proceedings of the 27th sitting held on Friday, 24th March 2023 are adopted as a true record of proceedings. I have a copy of the official report of Wednesday, 23rd November 2022. Honorable members, any corrections? Yes, Honorable Ablakwa.
Most grateful, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, please at column 11, where the Health Minister provides facilities accredited under the NHIS. The first hospital should be Kolebu Teaching Hospital. The BU has been omitted. So we have Kole Teaching Hospital. We don't have any such hospital in Ghana. So if the records could be corrected accordingly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable member, thank you for drawing attention. Kole is the name of the river. There is no hospital in that name. It's the area that is Kolebu. And a few of you know the meaning of Kolebu. You are many. You don't know the meaning of Kolebu. I think you are seated by Yama. Any further corrections? Honorable members, the votes and proceedings. Honorable members, the official report of Wednesday, 23rd November 2022, as corrected, is hereby adopted as a true record of proceedings. May we now move to item 5. Item 5. And we are going to handle item 5 as printed on the order paper addendum. Order paper addendum. Sorry.
Well, Right Honourable Speaker, I wanted to draw your attention that we received 2 official reports, but I don't know if it's probably just in my pigeonhole, because I have 16 February 2023 and 23rd November, which we have worked on. But I don't know if it's unique to probably my pigeonhole. So I just wanted to raise that.
I don't have.
Okay.
I don't have. So when I get it, definitely I'll bring it to the notice of the House. Urgent questions as captured on the order paper addendum. Yes, Majority Chief Whip.
Speaker,
just to remind colleagues that, and as was discussed at Conclave, following the business of today and the fact that we have the Common Fund Administrator still waiting on us for us to go through the formula, I want to suggest to colleagues that if we could just reduce the follow-ups to just a question instead of exhausting all the three, so that we can have ample time to execute on all the other businesses and then have time for the Common Fund formula at the Committee of the Whole.
Yes, Minority Chief Whip.
Right, Honourable Speaker, yes indeed, at Conclave, we were informed about the lineup of business. We needed to take the Common Fund formula at the Committee of the Whole and beyond. So we decided that we would inform colleagues that you would ask your question and be permitted to ask one supplementary question so that we can speed up work and get to other businesses, including a private member's bill being championed by one of our own, Honourable Anyafo. So indeed, Mr. Speaker, I can confirm what Majority Chief Whip is saying. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, you listen to your whips, and I'm sure you've accepted the proposal, and then I'll be guided by that as I permit you to ask the questions. And so, urgent questions on other paper addendum. One A stands in the name of the Honourable Member for Kita, Honourable Kwame Jijole Gakwe.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, what is the state of the 23 child slave rescue from the Volta Lake, and what measures are being put in place to protect them?
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations handles child labour-related issues. We, however, collaborate with them to raise awareness on child labour. We shall continue to engage stakeholders in the fight against child labour. For instance, through the Ghanaian the GACA initiative that we have done, more than 33,000 people have been engaged through community dialogue to create awareness on the reduction of abuse against children, including child labor. The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, in addition to this, has also developed and launched interagency standard operating procedure for child protection and family welfare for implementation. The Ministry also celebrates calendar day events that have been used to raise awareness among the public on the effect of citizenship on children. So far, over 40,000 people have been reached. We also work with the NGO civil society organization to provide food, medical care, rehabilitation, and reintegration to selected street children. Through the regional child protection committees, awareness has been raised among the various regional coordinating councils on the need to put strategies in place to reduce the incidence of child labor in the various regions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member, you have one supplementary question to ask.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the Volta Lake, the 23 children were back
part of the people who, during the disaster, they have that accident. So my question is to unravel whether their status, how they are being faring, and how they are actually working in collaboration with the ministry that protects the children. So I would like to know from the minister the status of the 23 children who had accidents on the Volta Lake. That's my question.
Yes, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We are in contact collaboration with civil societies and the security forces in the Volta region. A lot of children have been rescued from the Volta Lake and have been reintegrated. So we will always update the House wherever there are issues on child trafficking at the Volta Lake. Thank you so much.
Honorable members, we go to question number 1B. The question stands in the name of the Honorable Member for Ewutu Senya West, Honorable Gisela Tete Agotui. Honorable Member, you may ask your question.
Mr. Speaker,
yes.
With your leave, she has asked me to ask the question on her behalf. With your leave.
The word. The word. She has what?
She has asked me to ask the question on her behalf. With your leave.
Look at your standing order.
I'm asking permission from you to ask the question on her behalf.
Go back to your standing order.
She has authorized me to ask the question on her behalf. With your leave.
Yes, you must have the authority of the person first.
Yes.
That authority is important. Yes. So now that you have stated you have her authority to ask the question on her behalf, I'll grant you permission.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources the preparedness of the ministry in the event of an earthquake in Ghana. Thank you.
Yes, Minister.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this August House will recall that on Wednesday, 21st December 2022, following the earth tremor that occurred on 12th December, I made a statement in this House where I gave a detailed update on government's earthquake preparedness and response, and measures being taken by government in the monitoring and evaluation of earthquakes and other geohazards. Mr. Speaker, earthquake is a natural occurrence caused by sudden movements and long falls within the earth. The first recorded earthquake occurred in the then Gold Coast on 18 December 1636. Mr. Speaker, a seismicity map of the country shows that the southeastern parts of the country, which falls within the West African mobile belt, is most prone to earthquakes and tremors. The Ghana Geological Survey Authority, an agency under the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, is mandated to develop and maintain a national seismic network to monitor earthquakes, tsunamis, and mine blasts that have the potential to impact negatively on persons and property in the country. Currently, there are 11 network seismic monitoring stations located in Akosombo, Asankragua, Ho, Kukurantumi, Lake Bosunchi, Solkom, Shah Hills, Weja, and 3 other areas for nuclear power plants. These stations are connected to the National Seismic Observatory at Achimota by satellite transmission and are intended to provide real-time data on earth movements. Mr. Speaker, as part of this mandate, the authority undertakes public education. The authority also undertakes stakeholder engagement to sensitize people on the risk of earthquake. Some of the stakeholders the authority has so far engaged include the Ministry of Works and Housing, National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, Commercial Quarry Operators Association, the media, and owners of high-rise buildings such as Broad Ghana Limited, Bank of Ghana, GCB Ghana. The Speaker, earthquake preparedness and risk management and mitigation is multi-sectorial and requires the collaboration of several other stakeholders, including NADMO, the Land Use and Spatial Planning Authority, the security agencies, and the Metropolitan, Municipal, and District Chief Executives. Accordingly, on March 12, 2019, government inaugurated a 10-member committee chaired by Mrs. Charlene Bois-Schilling of the Ghana Institute of Engineers to examine the issues of earthquakes and tremors and draw up a framework for refocusing Ghana's earthquake preparedness and response. Mr. Speaker, the government of President Akufo-Addo does not take the safety and security of the Ghanaian people for granted, and we will do everything in our power to keep the country safe. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any supplementary question?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, you are entitled to one.
All right. Mr. Speaker, the minister mentioned about public education and mentioned some public institutions that public education has been taking place. But I want to find out the general populace. How prepared is the Ghanaian when earthquake strikes? What information, what public education messages have been given to the populace, the general populace, about earthquakes?
Yes, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I said, the Ghana Geological Survey Authority, which is a state institution or agency responsible for issues of earthquake, is currently working hand in glove with media houses and other agencies of state to ensure that the Ghanaian population are educated and enlightened about issues of earthquake. Mr. Speaker, I believe also the question that has been posed and the answer I've given, and several other interventions, as I said, the statements are made in this House. All of these will contribute to sensitizing the population. But I agree that we need to do a bit more in getting the population sensitized as to what steps people should take in the unlikely event of an earthquake. So, Speaker, we will continue to do our best to make sure that the Ghanaian people are educated. Thank you.
Honourable Minister, is it possible to include the National Commission on Civic Education? We seem not as a country to be using that commission, which has been constitutionally established to assist us in this aspect. The advocacy, the education of the people, we are not utilizing them at all. Is it possible to include them?
Mr. Speaker, I agree with you entirely. I think that following from this answer, we will create a framework to engage the National Commission for Civic Education. You are right. That is a constitutional body responsible for civic education, and we will do just that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
We will now have to take the third question, which stands in the name of the Member of Parliament for... I am guided by the submission of your whips, which are put to you, and you agreed, and so I'm going by that. No, they wanted to save time so that you go to some urgent, important business which concerns all of you. And so one supplementary per question. That was what they did. This issue, just a few weeks ago, was dilated upon by the minister here. And you were given the opportunity to make comments. In fact, it almost turned into debate. So I thought that was sufficient. But if you insist, I will give the opportunity. Yes, Honourable Member for... Yes, Majority Chief Whip.
Well, with respect, I respect my colleagues, and I know the subject matter is a sensitive one. But let's also understand, that is why you put us here as leadership. Leadership engage progressively, and we also want to execute on all the matters at hand. So please, with respect, let's go by the agreement. So I will insist.
You know, this forum is the only place you can exercise free speech to an unlimited level. So it's very difficult for us to always stop members when they want to exercise it. But I know with discipline, members will understand. But in spite of your leadership, you can't gag them. Can I go on? Okay, thanks so much. That is the discipline I'm talking about. We may now move to question number 1106. Stands in the name of the Honorable Member for Amenfi East, Honorable Nicholas Amankwa. Honorable Member, you may ask the question now. Sorry? Oh, Robson. Sorry, Robson. It's 1C. I went to the original order paper. We are still at the order paper addendum. The Minister for Justice is around. 1C.
Speaker, thank you very much. Speaker, I rise to ask the Honorable Attorney General, the Minister for Justice, what circumstances led to the shutdown of the online approvers registration system at the Registrar General's Department starting from the 15th of February 2023. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Yes, Minister.
Speaker, thank you very much. I'm sorry I'm a bit under the weather, but I'll try to answer the question. Speaker, it is important to point out that for registration of businesses, there's no entity in Ghana known as the Registrar General's Department, as my good friend has put it. Indeed, with the enactment of the New Companies Act 2019 at 992, the functions of the Registrar General's Department, as was previously considered under law, are now being performed by the Office of Registrar of Companies. And on 22nd July 2022, the President of the Republic, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, formally inaugurated the Office of Registrar of Companies, giving it full teeth and impetus to perform its functions. So, because the old Registrar General's Department exists separately and performs different functions in line with its enabling law. That's the Civil Service Structure Regulations of 1961, LI 139. It's important for this clarification to be made first. The Speaker, I proceed to answer the question. Indeed, there was no shutdown of the online registration system at the Office of Registrar of Companies from 15 February 2023, as the question seems to convey. The Speaker, the e-registrar application is a deliverable from the GovGov project and is a system referred to by the Honourable Member as the online approved registration system at the Office of Registrar General of Companies. Office of Registrar of Companies, sorry. The Speaker, that system was handed over to the Registrar General's Department as it was then, on 30th April 2021, by GCNet, the private partner in the PPP project. The application has 3 modules, namely business registration, marriage registration, and estate administration. It is integrated with other third-party applications like the Ghana Revenue Authority's TRIPS application, the Ghana.gov payment platform, the Ghana Post Data Address System, and what have you. The system operated normally and as would be expected of it since 2021. The only time there was a downtime, which seems to be what the Honourable Member describes as a shutdown, was on Thursday, 9th March 2023. On the said date, around 10:48 p.m., it was reported that users were unable to access the application. Checks on the system disclosed that the storage was not reachable by all 4 real application cluster nodes. The storage was inaccessible, hence the failure of users to access data on the storage. The Speaker, at this point, there should have been a switch over to a secondary site, disaster recovery site located at Hu in the Volta region for business to continue, but there were other performance challenges at the whole site also. The end-to-end registration of companies could not be done on that day because the e-registrar and TRIPS communication could not be established. Hence, the tax identification number 10 could not be generated for companies to register. CWG The company responsible for the maintenance of the storage was called upon to work on the issue. The problem continued only up to a part of the next day, February 10th, Friday 10th March 2023. By the end of that day, 10th March 2023, CWG had been able to fully resolve the issue and services resumed normally thereafter. The portal application issue resolution has been completed and clients of the Office of Registrar of Companies are currently able to use the online portal to register businesses. Mr. Speaker, going forward, the Registrar of Companies is of the view that there ought to be a revamping of its system. Fortunately, the World Bank, through the Ghana Economic Transformation Project, has provided funding to the Office of Registrar of Companies for the maintenance of the system and to migrate the production environment of the e-register application software onto the government cloud infrastructure located at the National Information Authority, National Information Technology Authority, NITA, within the next 3 months. Mr. Speaker, this will definitely improve the performance of the system and ultimately reduce the system downtime as was experienced recently. There will be high internet connectivity and a 24/7 supply of electricity to ensure no downtimes occur to the application. The project period is 16 weeks. By the close of June 2023, we hope to have the system fully in place and migrated onto the J-Cloud infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Honourable Member, one supplementary question.
That is all, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my concrete information is that the system indeed shut down on the 15th of February. If the information from the Minister to the Honourable House is to the contrary, I want to request of him to provide to this House transactions from between the 9th of February to the 9th of March 2023. 9th of March, he agrees that the system shut down. So as a House, we want to see the difference in terms of revenue generated and the volume of business done between the 9th of February and the 9th of March, so we can advise ourselves in this matter. Mr. Speaker, additionally, I want to plead with the Minister.
Supplementary question, supplementary question.
Mr. Speaker, I'm guided.
So your supplementary question
is to request the Minister to provide information in terms of transactions undertaken by the Register of Companies between the 9th of February to the 9th of March, the day he confirmed to this House that the system shut down. Thank you.
Yes. Minister, will you be able to provide that information?
Mr. Speaker, indeed I will be. Mr. Speaker, but it's also important to note that the scope of my good friend's questions were from 15 February. Now he's taking it back to 9 February. Nonetheless, we are able to furnish record of all registrations that were engaged in by the Office of Registrar of Companies between the 15th February and 9th of March 2023. Mr. Speaker, I will do that. I can produce it to the House. Thank you very much. No, the original question, Mr. Speaker, original question on paper was 15 February 2023 onwards. Mr. Speaker, if I'm guided that my good friend is now going beyond 15 February to 9 February.
No, 15th. I think the question is from 15th. 15th to 9th. 15th February to 9th March.
Yes.
Yes,
Speaker, I can do that. Thank you.
Just for clarity, in his response to the question, he has come to the House to say that nothing indeed happened on the 15th of February by way of the matter, the subject of the question. So for purposes of verification, I'm simply demanding a 1 month data set in terms of volume of business done, revenue generated between 9th of February to 9th of March. This is arising out of his answer. If he has provided data that on the 15th of February, system wasn't shut down, so much volume of business was done, so much volume of revenue was generated, then he would have answered the question properly. But he simply came to say no. no data to back what he came to say. That's why I'm now asking for data. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, this is not time for discussion. And so we'll go by the period in your question, because you yourself, by your question, has accepted that 9th February, there was no shutdown. Your question is from 15th. Yes. So from 9th to 15th, there will be transactions. That you have accepted. So you don't need evidence to confirm what you already know. Okay. These were activities from 9th to 15th. Is there 15th that according to you there was a shutdown? And that he said no. So we are now going to interrogate between 15th February to 9th March. And that one, I agree with you, if you could supply that, that would be sufficient to answer your queries. With this, I want on your behalf, as honorable members, to thank the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, and the learned Attorney General and Minister for Justice for responding to our questions and answering the questions. You are all three discharged. The Minister for Justice. Well, I will be handing over to my deputy. As I indicated to the leadership at the conclave, I have to attend to another urgent matter. And so permit me to do that, and it will be concluded by the first deputy speaker. So I'm told that you are not discharged. You are still to attend to the House, even though I have been informed that the learned Attorney General is not too well. He has agreed to stay back and answer your questions. You know, the Attorney General is the #1 in the legal profession. So please accord him that respect. In spite of his age, he is the #1 in the legal profession. Those who are lawyers know that. Yes, so let's go to the original order paper. But before we do so, permit me to acknowledge the presence of our beautiful ladies from the St. Francis Girls of Assisi, Jirapa, led by two of their Reverend sisters who have traveled all the way from the Upper West to Accra and to the Parliament House to observe proceedings. On behalf of the House and all the 275 members of Parliament, I welcome you and I congratulate you for this initiative. I'm sure you've seen what happens on the floor, not just through the tiny hole of the camera, but now you can see the whole House and what we do here. This is what we call question time, question to ministers. I hope you have more time to listen to the more serious ones that are coming. These ones are urgent ones that are not published, but the next questions, we have them published here, and there will be a lot of supplementary questions following after the main questions. We also have the students from the KJB Asafo Senior High School. I think it's a mixed school. So there are gentlemen and ladies. I think they are also up. Where are you? Yes, behind the ladies from St. Francis Girls of Assisi. You are welcome to. I'm informed that it's the members of parliament of these constituencies, Honorable Dr. Seydou Dapla, the member of parliament for Jirapa, and then actually I didn't know he was a doctor until today. Honorable. He's arranging refreshment for them. I hope the refreshment will be real refreshment. Then Honorable Yao Gomadu, yes, it's through the efforts of these two MPs that the students from the senior high are here to observe proceedings. Yes. It's good for all of you to do so. It helps in whatever you do in your constituency. Once again, you are most welcome and congratulations. We now move to the main questions. So please, can we take the order paper? Honourable member, is the speaker out of order?
No, I want to give some information. Yes. With your permission.
Give the speaker information.
Give the house information. With your permission. With your permission.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, you mentioned the name of my colleague, the honourable member for Jirapa, Honourable Cletus. He is having a meeting now, so when you mentioned he couldn't stand up for the people to see him, I thought I should correct that impression that he's at a meeting and very soon he will join them. Thank you. It's at the committee meeting, Mr. Speaker.
Well, this is a contradiction because the Honourable Clement Apak said he was arranging refreshment for the students from the senior high. Now you are telling us he's at a meeting.
What I'm saying is that very soon
he's going to a meeting.
These are two statements that can easily be linked. I said that he was at a meeting or is at a meeting, but he also agreed to meet them. I just said it here. So what he is saying is the last bit of it, that he is mobilizing to meet them. What it means is that he is done with the meeting.
He's done with the meeting and he's now mobilizing to.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable member, in spite of your dexterity and what is the other word for it? Huh? Well, your intellect and skills in trying to make the impossible possible, I am not convinced. Yes, First Deputy Speaker to take the chair. Well, I'm just informed that the administrator of the Common Fund is available. So please, you know how important her formula is to your survival for Madagascar.
Yes, Honorable Chief Whip.
Speaker, we are done with the agent questions on the order paper addendum. So we revert to the original order paper and start with normal questions for the day. I think it's advertised in the name of the Minister for Gender and Children. So we'll start from there and proceed duly.
Very well. Has Honorable Dijoli asked his question already? Have you asked your question yet?
Mr. Speaker, I asked the urgent question remaining there.
You have asked the urgent question
Already.
All right, thank you. So we'll proceed with question number 256. It's also in the name of the Honourable Member for Keta, Kwame Jijoli Gape.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection what steps the ministry is taking to engage all stakeholders and the groups in the country to find solutions to the rising incident of child labor.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think I've already provided the answer for this question. So I don't know whether I should repeat the answer again. It was already provided.
Yes, Honourable. Says the question is practically the same as the one she earlier answered. You don't want to do any follow-up question?
Mr. Speaker, the first question dwells on disaster at Volta Lake concerning 23 children. That's what the minister have already answered. My second question concerned about child labor in general, how children are being used in terms of fishing, cocoa, farming, and all over. So what measures being taken by the ministry?
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations handle child labor. We collaborate with them to raise awareness of child labor, and I made mention that we have trained a lot of security services, and then we have joined civil societies and NGOs to raise the awareness. And I made mention that more than 33,000 people have been engaged through community dialogue to create awareness on the reduction of abuse against children and child labor. And I also mentioned that the regional coordinating councils have been tasked to put some strategies in place to reduce incidents of child labor in the various regions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to find out from the minister, is there any policy document or policy guiding this issue?
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. If my colleague wants us to finish him with what we have done so far, we are ready to do that. Thank you.
Very well. We'll proceed to question number 930 by the Honourable Member for Bulsa South, Dr. Clement Apang.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me also use this opportunity to welcome the young ladies from St. Francis of Assisi. I attended Nandom Secondary School, formerly known as St. Michael's, as did my good friend and senior Bede. And anyone who knows the secondary dynamics in the Upper West region, there's been a long-standing relationship between Nandom Boys Secondary School and St. Francis Girls Secondary School. So I welcome you. You see, they are smiling. They know. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection the number of schools benefiting from the school feeding program in the Bulsa South District, the names of the schools, and the caterers assigned to each school.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Ghana School Feeding Program is currently feeding people in 26 schools in the Bulsa South District. The schools are being served by 26 caterers, and I have provided a table, names of schools, and then caterers. So I'll finish that one with my brother, because I don't want to mess with the names. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the minister, when the rest of the schools in the Busa South District would be included in the school feeding program. We have 34 primary schools in the Busa South District, and per the response that she has given, 26 are currently benefiting. So when would the remaining 8 benefit from the school feeding program?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Government is putting in place to absorb a lot of schools. So as they give us the directions, all schools will be captured. So I will assure you that anytime the directives are given, we will absorb those schools. Thank you.
Very well. The next question, I'm sure because you were meeting your students, you know about Mr. Speaker's instructions that you have one follow-up question only. Question number 1106 is in the name of donor member for Amenfi East, Mr. Nicholas Amankwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection when the school feeding program will be extended to the underlisted schools in the Amenfi East municipality: Tamaklo Basic School, Israel Basic School, Sushansu Basic School, Junction Basic School, Brasso and Wase Kumase Basic School. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Please, this address house will be duly informed as soon as government take decision to expand to include more schools. And once that decision is taken, the schools mentioned by my honorable colleague will be covered. Thank you, Honorable.
Yes, Honorable, we have one follow-up question.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. I pray that anytime the government get the needed resources to expand the school feeding program, the communities as mentioned should be considered. Thank you.
Very well. I'll proceed. Question number 1189 in the name of the honorable member for Karachi East, Mr. Wisdom Gidisu. Mr. Gidisu is not here. I'll proceed. The next question is 1443, honorable member for Yilo Krobo, Dr. Albert Tenyakute.
Right Honorable Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection what steps are being taken to increase the school feeding rate per child.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The ministry is having discussions with the Ministry of Finance to agree on an amount of the school feeding grant for this academic year 2023. As soon as the amount is agreed upon, we shall inform the other house, and my colleague will be duly informed. Thank you.
Yes, you have one follow-up question.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I have a follow-up question. I want to ask the Honorable Minister how much is being paid per child currently, and how long her minister has been paying that rate. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister, how much?
I think school feeding is paying 75 pesos per child. Tax, it has been taxed because once a year it has been taxed, so it's 97. So as we finish the discussions, if there's any increment, I will let you know. Thank you.
Question 1444. In the name of the honorable member for Clote Colley, Dr. Zanito Ajima Rollins.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have her authority to ask the question on her behalf.
Very well. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
On her behalf.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Gender on behalf of Member of Parliament for Clote Colley. When the Ministry will make available the details of its plans for the Children's Park, also known as the Ifwa Sedlands Children's Park. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, the Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Ministry have received a lot of proposals from a lot of interest parties. So we are redeveloping the park, and these proposals have been reviewed. Discussions are undergoing with relevant parties. So when we finish all the discussion, we will make the documents available and also brief the August House on whoever we are partnering to do the park. Thank you.
Very well. Question number 1554. In the name of the honourable member for K2 South, Ms. Abla Jifago Mashi. Yes, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the way you mentioned my name is excellent. Thank you. I rise to ask the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection about the status of the Affirmative Action Bill. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Affirmative Action Bill has been resubmitted to Cabinet last week, 21st March 2023, for reconsideration, and after that, it will be brought to Parliament for approval. And I'm so happy that my sister is very passionate about the affirmative bill, and I know when it comes to Parliament, you will rally behind it and support it for us to pass it. Thank you so much.
Yes, you have one more follow-up question, if any.
Mr. Speaker, the Minister has taken the steam out of me, but I'll just urge you, Honourable Minister, to ensure that this gets to this House early. For the first time in our country, there's 40 of us in this room. If we are not able to see this through, it will be a collective shame. So we're looking up to you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. That brings us to the end of the question for the Honourable Minister for Gender and Children. We thank you for attending upon the House to answer questions. You are discharged. Question number 1669 is to be answered by the Honourable Minister for Public Enterprises. Kindly take your seat. Question number 1669 to be asked by the Honourable Member for Pro East, Dr. Kwabena Donko. Very well, Dr. Kwabena Donko is not in the House. Kindly, the answer recorded will be forwarded to him. So, yes, Honourable Member for Wawes, the Ward Central.
Minister, Mr. Speaker, I just want to find out whether, without his direct authority from him, I should seek permission to ask this question.
I'm afraid.
Since it is a question of a general concern.
Well, I'm afraid you don't have his authority. Fortunately, he filed it. So, the answer as provided in the order paper is published. So, it's available to him and available to members. So, thank you for attending upon the House to answer questions. You are discharged. The next set of questions are to be answered by the Honourable Attorney General. Honourable Attorney General, you may now take your seat. Question number 804. To be asked by the Honourable Member for Wa West, Mr. Peter Lanchene Tobu. Sorry. Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, I have the authority of Mr. Honorable Lancheni to ask this question on his behalf.
Very well. You may proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister, the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, when the Attorney General's department will be staffed enough to allow police officers supporting criminal prosecutions return to their original mandates.
Yes, Honorable Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, indeed, by dint of Article 88, clauses 3 and 4 of the Constitution, the Attorney General is the sole repository of prosecutorial authority in the Republic. The Prosecutions Division of the Office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice is the institution set up under the Legal Services Act 1983, PLC Law 230, to assist the Attorney General in discharging his constitutional functions under Article 88 of the Constitution. However, the Office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice is highly understaffed and under-resourced nationwide. Thus, in accordance with Section 56 of the Criminal and Other Offences Procedure Act of 1960 at 30, the Public Prosecutors Instrument of 1976, EI-4, was enacted to authorize police prosecutors above the rank of sergeant to prosecute criminal cases at circuit court and district court, a function they exercise to date. Mr. Speaker, efforts have been made to resolve the issue of understaffing of the Office of the Attorney General to enable the Prosecutions Division fully take over all prosecutions nationwide. The number of state attorneys throughout the country is now only 316. Out of this number, as of today, 14 attorneys nationwide are only 183 compared to 450 police prosecutors. In Accra, the Prosecutions Division has only 56 attorneys compared with 95 police prosecutors. At the end of 2022, the Judicial Service had over 230 lower courts, district court and circuit courts, and over 120 high courts nationwide with jurisdiction to try criminal cases. This number has since increased, with His Lordship the Chief Justice opening a number of new courts throughout the country. Each year, each court will necessarily require at least one attorney to prosecute criminal cases therein. This implies that we need a minimum of about 400 attorneys for the Prosecutions Division of the Attorney General's Office alone, if you are to achieve a target of one attorney per court. In practice, there are more than 10 criminal cases handled daily in these courts, and effective prosecution requires more than one attorney to handle these cases. Mr. Speaker, in the Republic of Kenya, for instance, which has phased out prosecution by policemen, the Director of Public Prosecutions Office is staffed by over 1,000 lawyers. In Ghana, in the face of the severe human resources constraints, the Office of Attorney General will be adopting a strategy to phase out police prosecutors. This comprises short-term, medium-term, and long-term plans. With regards to a short-term plan, it will be implemented only in Greater Accra region, and it will be a pilot phase. The pilot project will be implemented by the Prosecution Division in Accra, the largest regional office. The pilot project, which will be implemented by the next legal year, will result in the Prosecution Division taking over the prosecution of all criminal cases in the circuit court in the capital of Accra only. Considering the mandate to the lower court, attorneys of the two lowest ranks, assistant state attorneys and state attorneys, will be specifically assigned to handle all such cases before the circuit court. The current number of prosecuting attorneys in Accra on those two ranks is 32. The successful execution of the short-term plan will serve as a blueprint for all other regional offices in the execution of the medium-term plan. The medium-term plan is a strategy which will involve two simultaneous stages. A, attorneys in other regions will conduct prosecution in the circuit courts in all regional capitals nationwide. The Greater Accra Regional Office, and that's the B, will conduct the prosecution of all criminal cases in all major towns and cities in the regions, in addition to the regional capital. A long-term plan, which will involve all regions. It is expected that the issue of understaffing will be resolved with the recruitment of about 500 attorneys into the active service of the Prosecutions Division of the Office of Attorney General and Minister of Justice. The long-term strategy will involve two simultaneous stages. A, the Greater Accra region Greater Accra Regional Office will conduct the prosecution of all criminal cases in all district courts in the region, in addition to the circuit courts. B. The other regional offices will assume the prosecution of all criminal cases in all circuits and districts in their respective regions. Successful implementation of the plan outlined above will result in the phasing out of police prosecutors to permit police prosecutors or police officers to return to the original policing mandate. The answer to the question thus depends substantially on a boosting of the human resource capacity of the Prosecution Division of the Office of Attorney General and Minister of Justice to enable the Attorney General to perform at optimal levels and completely phase out police prosecution. There's a need to recruit more than 300 new attorneys into the Service of Prosecution Division alone nationwide. Further, we require adequate office space and logistics in all the regions to undertake this onerous constitutional function. I hope this Honourable House will assist in this regard. Mr. Speaker, I'm very grateful for the opportunity.
Yes, after this comprehensive answer.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I thank him for this comprehensive answer, but I just want to find out, in the admission of inadequate funding, are you sure that what you have spelled out can come to any fruition within the period of the space of time you have indicated?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, indeed, I am very realistic about the financial challenges of the nation. Mr. Speaker, that is why I rolled out the program in 3 phases: the short term, medium term, and long term. And it is also important to indicate to this Honourable House that this year I've actually applied to the Ministry of Finance for financial clearance for the recruitment of 50 new attorneys. And as I indicated, we need 300 new attorneys into the office into the Director of Public Prosecutions Office alone. So with this new 50 attorneys, financial clearance is given, I'm sure about 30 out of them will be assigned to Prosecutions Division, and the rest spread over the Civil Division as well as the Director of the Legislative Drafting Department. Mr. Speaker, indeed, I believe that we can only phase out police prosecution through this long-term, medium-term, and short-term approach. I think that will be a realistic way of handling the situation. Thank you very much.
Very well. I'll proceed to the next question. Honourable Kavalonko, your minister has even left, so there's nothing more I can do about your question. We have gone past it already. So we'll proceed. Question number 984. In the name of the honourable member for Bebiani and Anyaso Bekwai, Mr. Fedobin Boating.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I rise to ask the Attorney General and the Minister responsible for justice the steps that his ministry has taken in prosecuting the directors and managers of the collapsed fund management companies that committed various financial crimes leading to a huge financial burden on the state. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Indeed, the Office of Attorney General and Minister of Justice has moved to prosecute cases resulting from the collapse of various fund management companies. The cases involving the collapsed fund management companies are categorized into 2. 1, the banking cases. Mr. Speaker, I can report that the Office of Attorney General has completed the prosecution of 1 of the 4 banking cases that were put before the High Court Accra. The remaining 3 are still ongoing and progressing steadily. Details of the cases are as follows. The first case which we have succeeded in prosecuting, Republic versus William Atuesian and 2 others, the Capital Bank case. The accused persons were arraigned before the High Court for the offences of stealing and money laundering. The third accused person was acquitted at the close of the prosecution's case. At the end of the trial, the first accused person applied under Section 35 of the Courts Act of 1993 at 459 for a plea of guilty to be entered for him. In accordance with relevant provisions under Section 35 of Act 459, the court accepted the plea agreement between the first accused person and the prosecution. The first accused was sentenced to refund 90 million Ghana cedis in 3 installments, together with other disabilities placed on him by the Banks and Social Deposit Act 2016 at 930 and other provisions of Ghana law. The second accused person was acquitted and discharged. Judgment was indeed delivered on 13 December 2023. The second case, Public versus Dr. Kobna Dufo and 8 others, the Unibank case. The accused persons have been charged before the High Court on the offences of dishonestly receiving, falsification of accounts, money laundering, fraudulent breach of trust, contravention of the Bank of Ghana Act, and willfully causing financial loss to the state. The trial is ongoing, with counsel for the 6 accused currently cross-examining a prosecution witness. Republic versus Johnson, Pandit Esiama, and 5 others, the UT Bank case. The accused persons have also been charged before the High Court for the offences of deceit of public officer, fabrication of evidence, money laundering, fraudulent breach of trust, and willfully causing financial loss to the state. The third prosecution witness is being cross-examined by counsel for the third accused. Then lastly, Republic vs. Michael Yinaku, the Beige Bank case. The accused person has recently been charged before the High Court for the offences of stealing, fraudulent breach of trust, and money laundering. The first prosecution witness is being cross-examined by counsel for the accused person. Mr. Speaker, there is also the microfinance and savings and loans companies matters. On 31st May 2019, the Bank of Ghana revoked the licenses of 347 insolvent microfinance and savings and loans companies. The Economic and Organized Crimes Office, (YOCO), investigated some of these cases and submitted dockets on 13 of them to the Office of Attorney General for study and advice. On receipt, the office requested further investigations to be conducted. The prosecution division is working closely with YOCO and PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, the receiver for all 13 companies, to get the dockets ready for prosecution. The office is in the final stages of preparing charges to be filed in court. The office indeed intends to file the charges in respect of 6 of the institutions before the end of this legal year, July 2023, and the remaining 3 at the commencement of the next legal year, October 2023. Mr. Speaker, that is the answer. Thank you very much.
Yes, and we have one follow-up question. Benny.
Yes. Right now, Mr. Speaker, is giving detail of 2 categories, and these 2 categories are under Bank of Ghana regulations. But we need the third one, the fund management companies under the regulation of Security and Exchange Commission. He didn't talk about that, and if he can give us some information about those companies. Thank you, Rana.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, indeed, there has not been a submission of any docket in relation to the fund management companies to the Office of Attorney General, Minister of Justice. It is something that I may have to engage the Bank of Ghana as well as the relevant investigative authorities to the state on. Thank you very much.
Very well. Question number 1076. Thank you. Question number 1076, in the name of the Honourable Member for Medina, Francis Xavier Kojo-Susu. In the meantime, the House is directed to sit outside the regular sitting house. You may continue.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Attorney General and Minister for Justice measures being taken to amend Criminal and Other Offences Procedure Act 1960 Act 30 to introduce plea bargaining with view to decongest the nation's prisons.
I thought you would have withdrawn this question because, to your knowledge, this amendment has been done. So, I don't know, even though he's provided an answer, I think we need not waste time. We should proceed to the next question.
Yeah, very Mr. Speaker. I mean, I'm sure that this question was filed way back, but once it was overtaken by events, but once Attorney General is here and he's provided some answers, I thought his answers may elicit some follow-up question.
Let's-
That's why.
Let's proceed to the next one.
Very well,
It's
Mr.
also in
Speaker.
your name. 1077, please ask the question.
Very well, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Attorney General and Minister for Justice the measures being taken to amend Criminal and Other Offences Procedure Act to provide alternative sentencing for petty crimes.
Yes, Honorable Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Mr. Speaker, I consider the passage of an Alternative Sentencing Act an urgent necessity to introduce alternative sentences for minor offences and also as a further mechanism to reduce congestion in our prisons. In this regard, a draft community sentencing bill prepared by the Office of the Attorney General and co-sponsored by the Ministry of Interior and the Ministry of Justice is going through the process of stakeholder consultations. The bill will be laid before Parliament upon the conclusion of those stakeholder engagements. Thank you very much.
If you have any follow-up questions, you may ask now.
Mr. Speaker, I want to find out from the Minister whether there are any timelines for this stakeholder engagement and whether we would be able to see a draft bill within this year.
Very well, yes.
Mr. Speaker, indeed, the introduction of a community sentencing bill will introduce a very innovative process in our criminal justice system. Mr. Speaker, I think that in view of this, there's a need for a comprehensive stakeholder engagement to be conducted. I cannot, with all respect, place any time frame within which the stakeholder engagement will be concluded. But I can assure the honourable member that yes, the stakeholder engagements have commenced. We have sent it around to the Ministry of Interior, the prison service, even the media, as well as relevant institutions who all have a stake in justice delivery in the country, and will expedite action on those stakeholder engagements. Thank you very much.
Very well. Question number 1123. Honorable Member from Poho, John Kobna Abam Abuasani. It's your question. Yes.
Speaker, I have the authority of the member to ask the question on his behalf.
Very well.
Speaker, I rise to ask the Attorney General and Minister for Justice. When works on the court complex and the magistrate's residence for the Empowered District Assembly will be completed by the contractor, Messer Sake Engineering Limited. I thank you, Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Attorney General.
The Speaker, indeed, I'm happy to report to the House that the residence of the District Magistrate in the Empowered District Court, a very beautiful and modern edifice, has been constructed, is ready, and soon will be commissioned in the month of April. Thank you very much.
Very well. The next question, also in the name of the Honourable Member for Medina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister to ask the Attorney General and Minister for Justice what measures are being taken to investigate and prosecute perpetrators of the recent law school entrance exams leakage.
Yes, Honourable Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Indeed, the General Legal Council promptly reported the matter of the leakage of examination questions at the Ghana School of Law to the National Investigations Bureau, NIB. The NIB indicates to me that they are concluding their investigations into the matter and soon will present a report. My office is ready to immediately commence prosecution on receipt of the report, if same points to criminality on the part of any person in the country. It is a matter of serious concern as it affects the integrity and, in fact, the future of the legal profession. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, it's good that the Attorney General admits that this is a matter that is of a serious concern, that it affects the integrity and, in fact, the future of the legal profession. And given the fact that it is this serious, don't you agree with me, Attorney General, that the NIB has been a bit too slow in finishing investigations in this matter? Because this is not something that requires a very complex investigation, and it seems it's just ongoing, and we don't know, we can't see the end from where we are standing. So what assurance are you going to give to this House that sooner than later we'll see prosecution of people who leak entrance exams at the law school?
Yes, Honorable Minister, what assurance?
Speaker, indeed, I am not in a position to admit to a slowness.
I deliberately moved away from that because that's asking an opinion. So, assurance, please.
Mr. Speaker, so I can assure the House that I will work with the NIV to ensure an expedition of the investigation process so that we bring the matter to conclusion. Thank you very much.
The last question for the day is no. You were here when the Speaker announced the rules, so please. Question number 1642 by the Honourable Member for Crew East, Dr. Kwabradonko.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Attorney General, a Minister for Justice, what plans the Ministry has to introduce an amendment to Act 584 to legalize the audit of state-owned companies by the Auditor General.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, the question indeed raises a constitutional issue. Article 187, Clause 2 of the Constitution sets out the mandate of the Auditor General. The provision enjoins the Auditor General to audit the public accounts of Ghana and the accounts of all public offices, including the courts, the central and local government administrations, universities and public institutions of like nature, of any public corporation or other body or organization established by an Act of Parliament. Because Section 11 of the Audit Service Act of 2000 at 584 amplifies the just cited constitutional provision when it stipulates that the mandate of the Auditor General in the same manner as Article 187 Clause 2. The law thus mandates the Auditor General to audit public accounts and the accounts of public offices, including public corporations, bodies established by an Act of Parliament only. The question whether the Auditor General can audit the account of a state-owned company depends on how the company is set up. The Speaker, in my view, if the entity in question is not set up as a public corporation, as defined in Article 190 or by an Act of Parliament, then the Auditor General is not mandated by Article 187, Clause 2 of the Constitution to audit. The account of a state-owned company set up as a purely private company limited by liability or limited by shares is not a public corporation account. Its accounts are also not part of the public accounts of Ghana to which the Auditor General's auditing mandate extends. The Speaker, this position that I just stated found judicial expression in suit number JJ-01/2028, the public versus the Attorney General as the first defendant, Economic and Organized Crimes Office second defendant, KK Amwa third defendant, ex parte Dr. Valerie Sawyer. The judgment delivered in February 2019. A case in which the applicant, Dr. Valerie Sawyer, challenged the power of the Ghana Gas Company Limited, a private company limited by liability but owned by the government, to appoint a private auditing firm to audit its accounts. She consequently sought an order to quash the report of the private auditing firm, which made the adverse findings against her. The High Court, presided over by her leadership, Justice Jennifer Doju, as she then was, dismissed the action and held that the accounts of Ghana Gas Company Limited were not public accounts. And Ghana Gas Company Limited, not being a public corporation or corporation set up by an Act of Parliament, had the power to appoint a private auditing firm to audit its accounts. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I submit that if we desire to have the Auditor General audit the account of all state-owned companies, including companies limited by liability, that quest will require an amendment of Article 187, Clause 2 of the Constitution, which we all know is an entrenched provision in terms of Article 290 of the Constitution. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, recognizing that the Convention of Specified Statutory Corporations to Companies Act 1993, Act 461, was promulgated after the Constitution, and that the Auditor General has continued to audit these companies, which were corporations at the time
of the Constitution was, which were corporations when the Constitution came into effect, would the Attorney General still consider a way of either enabling legally the Auditor General to continue the audit of these state-owned companies? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Attorney General.
Speaker, indeed, my function, with all respect, as the Attorney General of the Republic, is to advise the government on matters of law. Speaker, I can only restrict myself to matters of law, matters related to the laws of Ghana, as set out in Article 11 of the Constitution. Speaker, it is very important, once again, to note the functions of the Auditor General. It is stated in Article 187, Clauses 1 and 2. Clause 1 says there shall be an Auditor General of Ghana whose office shall be a public office. Then Clause 2, directly on his mandate, says the public accounts of Ghana and of all public offices, including the courts, the central and local government administrations of the universities and public institutions of like nature, of any public corporation or other body or organization established by an act of parliament, shall be audited and reported on by the Auditor General. So, Speaker, if an entity originally set up as a public corporation has been converted under the Statute of Corporations Conversion to Companies Law, it is now a company limited by liability and does not operate under the erstwhile Public Corporations laws. It operates as a company limited by liability under the Companies Act and other relevant laws. The Speaker, for that matter, its accounts, with all respect, are not public accounts. I think that it's also pertinent to note Article 190, Clause 1 of the Constitution, which sets out the public service of Ghana. And so the public service of Ghana shall include A, and it lists all the conventional public services. B, public corporations other than those set up as commercial ventures. It clearly indicates that a company limited by liability, which is one for profit, and thus a commercial venture, is excluded from the definition of public corporations in Article 192, Clause 1, Clause B. In the circumstances, I'm unable to find any means by which I can bring within the ambit of accounts audited by Auditor General a company set up as a company limited by liability. Thank you very much.
Very well, honorable members. That brings us to the end of question time for today. We thank the Honorable Minister for attending upon the House to answer questions. You are now discharged. Honorable Deputy Speaker, can I acknowledge the presence of the students of Dabala Senior High School, or yes, Senior Secondary Technical. Do we still have Secondary Technical? Well, that's tech, comprising 74 students and 6 teaching staff who are here to visit Parliament. They are here facilitated by the Honourable Member for Southong, Honourable Kobna Mensah-Woyome. We welcome you to Parliament and we hope you enjoy our proceedings. Honourable Mensah-Woyome, I've done your request. Now, yes, Mr. Speaker, can I hear you?
Mr. Speaker, if you may indulge me to make a brief statement, and I come under Order 72. Mr. Speaker, I'm making this statement not to despise any member of this House. I'm rather making this statement for the good image of this House. Mr. Speaker, last Friday, we held election in this House to consider the President's nominee into the ministerial position and deputy ministerial positions, as well as the Chief Supreme Court of this land. Mr. Speaker, per Article 1044, as well as our rules, standing orders 110B, the elections were supposed to be held in secret. Mr. Speaker, the elections were indeed held in secret, but subsequently, we have read in some of our social platforms to the effect that some of our members, probably as a matter of raising or proving a point, express to the position that they video the way they voted or the two pictures of the way they voted. I understand and appreciate our members, but the fact of the matter is that the election was supposed to be in secret, and it is an affront to the elections. Indeed, we are supposed to be the cream of our democratic dispensation, and whatever we are doing must appear to be understood that we actually appreciate what we are doing. And therefore, I am bringing this to the House, attention of the House, that if we are supposed to vote, which has been prescribed by our Constitution and our rules, please, as much as we would like to prove to the caucus leaders or our constituent or our party that indeed this is the way we voted, please, we should also be reminded that whatever we do here is not only read or construed to be in something happening in Ghana here. It's read all over the world. And once it goes against our Constitution, please, it's not good for the image of this House. So, like I said, I'm not saying this to despise anybody. I'm bringing to the attention of all of us so that we may refrain from this act. If we are voting yes, let our yes be in our heart that indeed we voted yes. If we are voting no, let everybody know that we are voting no. It's not just a matter of taking pictures or video and showing to the world just to prove a point that this is the way we did it. To me, it's not the best for this House. It's indeed an affront to this particular House. And I repeat, I'm not saying this to despise anybody. I'm bringing it for our own good and the good of this particular image. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for your attention.
Yeah. Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful for the opportunity to contribute to the statement that the second Deputy Speaker made. Indeed, to the best of my knowledge, the election was conducted in secrecy. And if there is any evidence to suggest that it wasn't done in secrecy, what it means is that the results of the election
is void.
Could be null and void.
Yes.
And so if he has evidence contrary to what we know, you should bring it out.
And let's cancel the results. And
then the results can be cancelled, and then we do the rightful thing. Mr. Speaker, having said this, I also want to add that going forward, the House needs to do some standards, set some standards as to how we conduct elections in this House. I've been here, I was here in 2017 up to date, and I've seen a few elections conducted here, and we seem not to have standards. Today we are doing it this way, tomorrow is another way. That doesn't help our cause. If we can come out with standards as to how we conduct elections here, let's do it. For instance, the last time we conducted an election here, before the recent one, the booth was here and the box was a little bit far from it. The last one that we just did, there was an argument that they should be very close. That was what we did. Tomorrow I can assure you, they will say that the ballot box should be outside. And that is not the way to go. I think that this House, for the sake of our integrity, for the sake of what we are doing to help our nation,
there is a need for us to have standards as to how we conduct elections in this house. But like I said, I do agree with the second Deputy Speaker that the results can be cancelled, so that we reconduct an election that will be secret and that will give us the kind of results that we want. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank the maker of the statement, Right Honourable Speaker, Second Deputy Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think this is an affront to democracy with respect to what happened here. To the best of our knowledge, we had the ballot in secret. It is speculating, or it is being circulated on social media, that some people actually videoed the process of the elections and are being circulated widely on social media. Mr. Speaker, this House needs to purge itself of this unfortunate development. Certainly, there are many forms of elections in this House. There are elections by head count and by voice vote, and of course by secret ballot. It is not for nothing that some specific elections are prescribed to be held in secret. And if this is how this August House is going to conduct business, then, Mr. Speaker, we don't have the moral right to even educate our electorate how to vote when we go to the general elections. And if anybody did that for purposes of spiting or ensuring that they conform to whatever systems is put in place for people to toe a particular line, then, Mr. Speaker, is unfortunate. And I want to add my voice that this particular matter should be fully investigated and a public apology be issued to the good people of this country. This cannot be said of a parliament that ought to uphold the integrity of elections in this country, Mr. Speaker. Like the maker of the statement said, he was not making this statement to spite anybody. And I want to say that this is not an attempt to spite any particular member of this House. But all of us are not comfortable with this particular development as far as the media space and to the good people of this country is concerned. Our conscience has been attacked as members of parliament, and I believe, I won't be surprised if civil society or some interested individuals will soon be petitioning the Speaker to hold some people before the Privileges Committee of this House. We need, as a matter of fact, to make a bold statement to the good people of this country. I rest my case, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Leaders, I'll admit one each before I come to the leaders. Yeah? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we've been in this House for quite a while, and what the maker of the statement indicated is not a new thing, and it is not one which I'll say we should even belabor, because we've actually done a lot of elections in this House. We've carried a lot of elections where members took pictures and displayed them on the social media. And we've never recorded a time when a statement of this was made. In any case, if those passed, we did not make statements to attack those activities or those who did or carried out those activities. More or less, it becomes part of the practice in this House. And why do we then attack our practice? And so once the practice is that you would want to vindicate how you voted, I mean, I don't think that...
Did you say you indicating how you voted is a practice of the House?
Mr. Speaker, I remember on the 7th of January, 2021, the vote was supposed to be secret. Both sides voted and displayed how they voted. And so nobody at that event...
They displayed it at where?
In the chamber.
Displayed it in the chamber?
Oh, Mr. Speaker,
Please, let's not the
Mr. Speaker,
record.
Mr. Speaker,
Let's not that be in our
it
record.
It happened, but we did not attack it. And nobody came out with any intention of coming out with list of people to be heard before the Privileges Committee. There wasn't anything of that sort. We accepted it and we moved on. And so I don't see why this should be a problem. And so, Mr. Speaker, well, if it's a new standard we want to set for ourselves, as the earlier contributors to the statement had made, we should do so that at least, if we also think that what was done on Friday was wrong, and know the results, so we come out with a fresh vote, so that at least it settles the matter, and based on that, we carry on with what is supposed to be the standard and the right way to go. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, in fact, what the NDC has done, yes, it's an affront. Please give me the opportunity.
Honorable members, can I have some order? Honorable members, can I have some order?
What the NDC has done is an affront to the dignity.
Honorable member for. Honorable member, NDC has not said anything in respect of our vote in the House. So kindly modify your statement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I take the cue. What some members of the NDC have done is an affront to the dignity of this House and must be condemned. And unlike the original maker of the Speaker, I do not mind if any of them, their ox is gone.
Honorable member, hold on. Yes, leader.
Mr. Speaker, with your guidance, we went to conclave to determine the business we will do today. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, out of that, colleagues who had questions were limited to only one supplementary question, so we can save time and do the business of Common Fund Administrator. Mr. Speaker, the second Deputy Speaker read a statement under Order 72. Order 72. Mr. Speaker, yes, that order says that people may make brief comments, but that same order says that that statement must have been shown to you. You should have had knowledge. I was just wondering, yes, we were in conclave. You said we are not going to be surprising each other. Mr. Speaker, if we spend the time making a whole debate out of this, Mr. Speaker, then it would have been unfair to our colleagues who should have been asking 3 supplementary questions and were limited to one. Mr. Speaker, with all due respect, I would request that it was a statement made under Order 72. You have the right to curtail the unnecessary and vexatious comments by some of our colleagues. The maker of the statement did not even suggest any party or any individual in his statement. He made it quite general and said we should be guided. Then those making comments begin to name people and parties in this, Mr. Speaker. I request that you take a decision and curtail this so that we can make progress. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Honorable members, please be guided that under our rules, comments on statements are not supposed to generate debate. Comments on statements are not supposed to generate debate. So please, Honorable Member for Secretary, also be guided and make your comments very brief.
Very well, Mr. Speaker, and I stand corrected. What I want to suggest that this is very fundamental. And I represent the people of Sevier also, a proud and independent people. Mr. Speaker, I'm their advocate, and if I'm affronted, I know that they always also be affronted. This is so fundamental and it's edged in the primary law of the land, the Constitution, secret ballot. They have brought the name of this August, house into disrepute. Mr. Speaker, I support the maker of the motion, and then I call on you to refer it to the Privileges Committee so that that incident is investigated and our good name is exonerated. I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Now, do the leaders wish to comment? You don't wish to comment. Honorable Majority Leadership, do you wish to comment? Minority Leadership declined to comment. You wish to comment?
Speaker, I will defer to my colleague, the Honorable.
You declined to comment. That's why I asked you. Sorry?
Speaker, I didn't decline to comment. No, I was asking if it would be possible for you to curtail the debate altogether, but you still gave the opportunity to our colleague, the environment.
I asked you whether you wish to comment.
Oh, yes, yes.
And you indicated no.
No, Mr. Speaker.
That's why I announced and said if you also wishes to comment.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I will comment.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, first of all, I would request that the portion of the statement made by our colleague, the minister, that suggested that NDC did this should be expunged, because the main statement didn't even suggest any political party. It was a general statement. So that portion that he made that mentioned the name NDC should be expunged. That's my first request. Mr. Speaker, we have seen situations in this house that we are all not proud about. We have seen colleagues in this house during voting physically attack ballots and attempt to run away with the ballot papers. Mr. Speaker, we never came here to suggest that those individuals should even stand here and apologize to the people of this country. It is surprising that somebody sees something on the social media and feels that he can make a political capital out of it. I still stand by the fact that the comment made by the second deputy speaker was just to guide us for the future, and it's a harmless statement he made, Mr. Speaker. So I want to encourage my colleagues, whilst it's okay to think that you can insinuate and say that you've seen something on social media, Mr. Speaker, you had cause to caution us here that stories have been published about occurrences in this house that were totally misrepresented or false. So if we begin to say, I've seen something on the social media, so you begin to mention NDC's name, Mr. Speaker, that is very unfortunate. I would plead with you, Mr. Speaker, to order the table of it to expunge that portion of my colleague's statement that mentioned NDC, and so that we can make progress on this matter. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the maker of the statement for this wise statement that is made. Mr. Speaker, all of us in this house have benefited from secret balloting. It was secret ballot that brought each and every individual of this house into this chamber, including the chair. Mr. Speaker, on the 6th of January to the 7th of January 2021, when we started the session, there was a secret ballot. Acrimonies. People started making acrimonies against people, suspicions, and whatnot. Last Friday, there was a secret ballot in this house and suspicions and accusations continue to be cited. Mr. Speaker, all I would want to say is that Ghanaians had voted and put us into this house. And we have a responsibility to protect the integrity of this house. Now, I would want to say that this would not be the first and the last time that a secret balloting will be going on in this house. And I urge my colleagues on both sides that we must cease and desist from suspecting other people and naming other people that they have gone to do a secret ballot. It will not take us anywhere. Let us protect the integrity of this house. Mr. Speaker, I cannot end by not commending the Electoral Commissioner on Friday that the Speaker did very well, controlled the system very well. In fact, if we had had the Speaker on the 6th and the 7th of January, we wouldn't have had the problems that we have in the past. Thank you.
All right, honorable members. Well, I had no foreknowledge of the statement. The honorable secretary told me he wants to make a short statement. Probably would have discussed the terms before we got on. But there are things I want to note. The honorable member for Southon, Honorable Kobe-Mensah, says that something is our practice. I want the record to reflect that it is never the practice of this House to breach the rules as in the Constitution. If anybody has done that, it is that individual who is responsible for what he has done. It's never the practice of this House. Others are saying that results should be cancelled. No, the rule is that if anybody breached the particular secrecy rule, it is that vote that will be annulled. But we've gone past that one long ago. That is the law. It doesn't matter whether you shout no or no. We've gone past that one. Let us be guided and let's proceed. Yes, Honorable Chief Whip.
Speaker, we are ready. I guess the House is ready to break into Committee of the Whole and consider the Common Fund formula as was agreed and discussed. So we are Committee of the Whole.
Yes, Honorable.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I support the request by the group.
Honorable members, the House will suspend, the sitting will be suspended, and the House will reconvene as a Committee of the Whole.
Speaker, we are ready to go on to page 19 of today's order paper and begin with item 28. Speaker, we've agreed as leadership to limit the business to be prosecuted before we adjourn. The Criminal Offences Amendment Bill, it's just 2 clauses. And then we just do few clauses of the UNESCO bill and we'll call it a day. So we'll start from item 28, page 19. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm having challenges even talking.
Come again?
I say I'm even having challenges trying to express myself. We have lost a colleague today. Yes. And we are acting as if nothing has happened.
Yes.
And we are going about business as usual. If it is possible, let's adjourn and mourn our friend, and mourn our brother. Yes. I mean, tomorrow it will be one of us. Let's stop this. So I will appeal to you that, look, we should rather adjourn till tomorrow. Let's go and mourn our brother and friend. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Honorable Member for Asante Achim Central.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I appreciate the concern that is raised by my colleague. But we did a committee of the whole, and then we adjourned for more than 1 hour. I think this application should have come early. We have some few clauses, and we have a lot to finish before Friday. So I will pray that we do a little. One, the Speaker had taken a seat, we do a little before we go. The Criminal Offences Amendment Act that we plan to move, the clauses are only 2. And we would have finished with that. So I pray that colleagues should bear with us. Thank you.
Well. Yes, Honorable Minority Whip.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I understand the position of my colleague, Honorable Bauer. Indeed, today is not a very good day for us. However, because we have already scheduled to do a number of things, I would plead with colleagues that we do at least the Criminal Offences Act. I'm told it's just 2 clauses. Let's do that one, then after that you can give an indication as to what we can do. We were going to do 2.
What about the UNESCO one?
That's what I said, Mr. Speaker. Let's do the 2, and after that we can give an indication as to what we will do. The UNESCO bill, I'm told, is about 40 clauses. We can start and finish at least the Criminal Offences Act. So let's finish 1, then we can see whether we can move on and do few of the clauses of the second one, Mr. Speaker.
I think that my colleague related to me earlier, and it's the more reason we are not delving deeper into the UNESCO bill. There are close to 40 clauses. So the Criminal Amendment Bill is only 2 clauses. We deal with that. Just start the UNESCO bill, and then we can adjourn for tomorrow. Item 28, page 19.
Mr. Speaker, may I prompt?
Honorable Member for Asante Achim Central, I haven't called you. I'll call you. So, yes, Savdai.
Speaker, the Honorable Bauer has drawn the House's attention to this very important matter. But it is still being dragged. So let's have an agreement that after considering the business of Honorable Ahianfo, the House will adjourn. We won't touch the UNESCO bill. So that tomorrow, when we have cried and mourn our brother and we are returned tomorrow to the House, we can do business and reflect. We can do business.
we've been yearning to do business, but the mood of the house is one of solemnity. So let's tackle his business and then.
Honorable members, let's do the criminal amendment. Then afterwards, looking at this, the mood of the house, if you have to start that one, fine. If you have to adjourn, we will. So you allow us to do the criminal amendment act. Then the mood of the house will determine how to move on. So yes, leader.
Speaker, I will accede to that request. Just to add, you see, that business stands in the name of the Honorable Ahiafo. If we are saying that we are doing Honorable Ahiafo's business and we call it off, that is quite discriminatory. Yes, in my view, because you see, Speaker, you see, even at concrete, Speaker, if I can just conclude.
Honorable members, please.
No, I don't have a problem. If you insist we should adjourn, we can adjourn. We can adjourn.
Honorable majority whip, I believe we are here to do government business, and you are the chief architect of prosecuting government business. So this issue of honorable members, do I have your attention? Honorable Chief Whip, please, I'm not with you with the statement you made. In actual fact, we are here to do government business, and you are the main architect to help us to do government business. So don't yield it to.
Yeah, with respect. Well, we agree to disagree, and I respect my colleagues. They know I respect them. I'm saying that when it gets to this point, we should also, with the greatest of respect, defer to leadership. It helps make the work easy for us, because we have a responsibility as leaders of this house to make the work easy for you and for you to stay affairs. If we agree to do some business and for some reason we think that we want to compromise, let's defer to leadership where we can make progress. So I will agree if it is the sense of the house,
honorable members,
that we should do the criminal amendment bill and adjourn. So be it.
Honorable members, of course we are all mourning. There's no doubt about it. But still, government business must go on. So we appreciate the concern of Honorable Bawa. We will see how best to address ourselves to that. So let me invite you to page 19. Page 19 in today's order paper. We are in consideration stage. Yes. Yes, honorable members, page 19, Criminal Offences Amendment Bill at consideration stage. Cross 1, there is an amendment proposed. Honorable Chairman.
Clause 1, amendment proposed. Delete and insert a new section 57 as follows. A person commits a first-degree felony if the person, knowing that another person has suicidal thoughts intentionally, that's an act that is aimed at aiding, assisting, facilitating, or encouraging the person to commit or attempt suicide, whether or not the suicide or attempted suicide is actually committed. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, there is a proposed amendment on the floor. Yes, Honourable Member for Sounder.
Mr. Speaker, I support the present amendment being proposed, save that in respect of line 3, the word intentionally should be deleted completely. So that it reads, a person commits a first-degree felony if the person, knowing that another person has suicidal thoughts, does an act that is aimed at aiding, assisting, facilitating, or encouraging the person to commit or attempt to commit suicide, whether or not the suicide or attempted suicide is actually committed. Mr. Speaker, the rationale is that if we introduce intentionally, then it means that. Sorry, you want to ask? Okay.
Mr. Speaker, I support the further amendment, and I want to support with the rationale. Mr. Speaker, two things constitute a crime: the act and the intention. And we took it from the Latin word actus non facit reo, necit mens rea. No act entails criminal responsibility unless the mind is legally blameworthy. Therefore, once there is an act that constitutes a criminal offense, the element of intention must also be there. So there is no need saying whoever does it intentionally.
Honourable members, there is a further amendment to the proposed amendment. Yes, Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, I would want to draw my colleagues' attention to the fact that ordinarily I would have agreed to this, but we have met experts, psychiatrists, and others to come to this conclusion. But omitting intentionally, I just want to draw the attention that an act can also be accidental. No, somebody may do an act which may coincide, which is accidental and not intentional. So I think intentional is necessary to be there. Because if somebody does an accidental act, then the person would be committed if we delete the word intentionally. So you may have to reconsider your proposed amendment and probably withdraw that. Thank you.
Speaker, okay.
Don't you side with the chairman?
Yeah,
but once you do away with the intent,
I plead with the chairman of the committee to accept the amendment, because if you look at the rendition, the act must aim at something. So because the act is going to aim at something, there cannot be an accidental act which will aim at something. Mr. Speaker, if you look at it, they said a person commits a first-degree felony if the person, knowing that another person has suicidal thoughts, does an act that is aimed at aiding, assisting. So because of the words, aiding is aimed at aiding, assisting, there is no way by which accidental act can aim at assisting somebody or aiding somebody to commit a crime. So the deletion of the word intentional is in the right direction.
Yes.
I listened to the debate on this very act. The intention was to decriminalize suicide acts. And I think that the word intention there is basically doesn't hurt at all. If I listen to my colleague there, I see that knowing when the statement goes on and then the intention, it makes it a little superfluous. But it doesn't really hurt, because we are just trying to be sure that the intent of this amendment, which is basically to decriminalize suicidal acts, is something that is in place. And so that's why I support the chairman's amendment.
Honorable member, did you hear him? He said, just leaving the intentionally does not spoil the.
Oh, Mr. Speaker, it is so fundamental. It is so fundamental to the provision. What constitutes a crime? The crime, you see, the provision is saying you have committed a crime when you do A, B, C, D. You see, so it's already been established. There's no need. This is a provision that is establishing an inchoate offense. This is an abetment. This is a conspiracy. So you couldn't have committed this felony if you acted unintentionally. No, it has already been established. So this is the penal provision. This provision is the penal provision. You wouldn't get here if it's not established that you have acted intentionally.
So, anyway, let me hear the chairman.
Mr. Speaker, this is a private members' bill that is sponsored by Honorable Ahiafo and myself. And if my colleague insists on this, I'll throw in the towel. Otherwise, what I understand them to be saying is that the word intentional is superfluous. And I do not think that if it is there, it is going to create any mischief. But I thought that if there is an act which is accidental, but if they insist, I would throw in the towel. And
if they insist, we do what?
If they insist that we should delete the word intentionally, I would agree with them and delete the word intentional.
Well,
I do not think that it would harm the clause.
Well.
Thank
Honourable
you.
members, the chairman who proposed amendment is now, I wouldn't say he's abandoning his own amendment, but he's supporting the proposed, the further amendment. So I'll put the question. All those in favor of the proposed further amendment, say aye. All those against, say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The proposed further amendment is hereby adopted. We move to clause 2.
Consequential amendment.
Clause 2, amendment proposed. Delete and insert the following. The Mental Health Act 2012, Act 846, is amended in section 95 by the addition of a new subsection 3 as follows. A person who attempts suicide shall be considered to have severe mental disorder, and the provisions of the Mental Health Act 2012, Act 846 shall apply. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, there is a proposed amendment to clause 2. Okay, honourable member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to draw the attention of the chairman to it's like he read and jumped conclusively there. Maybe if he added it, he read minus a word there. Maybe the word conclusively. Chairman, you jumped it. Maybe it's there.
Thank you very much. Right.
Chairman, may you give the rendition again? Taking notice of what a member.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. So the new rendition would be, the 2 would be, a person who attempts suicide shall be conclusively considered to have severe mental disorder, and the provisions of the Mental Health Act 2012, Act 846 shall apply. I so move.
Well. Honourable members.
Speaker, the present amendment, the difficulty I see in applying this is that consideration will have to be medically determined. That consideration. It has to be a medical determination. So it is not something that you do whimsically. It is something that you must be subject to a medical review. That is the intent I think this House is placing behind this provision. So, Doc, you come in. So I think that we should rather craft it in such a way that the person will be mandatorily subjected to the provision of the Mental Health Act. It has to be a mandatory subjection. We must not allow you to, there should be no leeway for you to be able to walk away. But once that determination is made, you must be mandatorily subjected to the provisions. But I'll let Dr. come in and if he has another view on the matter.
Dr. Friye. Indeed, I defer to what he said and I support him. See, we have the phenomenon of parasuicide. It's like sometimes a psychological condition where the person wants to draw his or her attention to his or herself, and then things go bad, and then the person dies. The intention was not to kill him or herself by something which is gone very, very bad. So in that instance, there must be an evaluation whether it's parasuicide or real. You can debate that in itself also constitutes a mental illness. As to whether it's a severe one or not severe is my problem. Thank you. So I refer to his amendment.
But you are aware that this is a law making, so we can't make suggestion. Right? So that is why the chairman's position must be clear. Because what
Speaker, I withdraw my yes, I withdraw the intervention.
So, honorable members, there is a proposed amendment to clause 2. And all those in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All those against say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The proposed amendment is hereby adopted. Now, honorable members, where is it? Was it advertised? You come there. You haven't gotten there yet. You haven't gotten there yet, honorable member. So, honorable members, I will put the question in clause 2 as variously amended. All those in favor say aye. All those against say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. Clause 2 as variously amended is hereby adopted.
An act to amend the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29, to decriminalize attempted suicide and provide for related matters.
I was going to go to the long title, but let me hear you. Chairman.
I want to draw my colleagues' attention that we need to end the consideration stage. Then you can then move the motion for the third reading.
Well, now the long title.
An act to amend the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29, to decriminalize attempted suicide and provide for related matters.
Honorable members, the long title has been read to us. All those in favor of the long title say aye. All those against say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The long title is hereby adopted. We come to the end of the consideration stage.
Honourable members, let me invite you to the addendum paper. Addendum paper, motion 2. Motion 2. Honourable Bernard Ahiafo, MP for Akate South. Honourable, you may move the motion.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to move the motion numbered item number 2 on the order paper addendum, that notwithstanding the provisions of the Standing Order 1311, which require that when a bill has passed through the consideration stage, the third reading thereof shall not be taken until at least 24 hours have elapsed. The motion for the third reading of the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2021 may be moved today. Mr. Speaker, I so moved.
Thank you very much. Are you seconding it? Yes. Honourable.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I second the motion.
Very well. Honourable members, this is a procedural motion. I will therefore put the question. All those in favour of the procedural motion at the order paper addendum 2, say aye. Aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The procedural motion is hereby adopted. Now, let me hear the substantive motion. Is it chairman or? Okay, very well.
Mr. Speaker, thank you again for giving me the opportunity to move the item motion numbered 3 on the order paper addendum, that the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2021 be now read the third time. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Yes, Honourable Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to second the motion. Thank you.
Honourable members, the motion has been moved and it has been seconded. The question is, as many as are in favour of the motion, say aye. Aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it and the motion is adopted.
An act to amend the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29, to decriminalize attempted suicide and provide for related matters.
Honourable members, the Criminal Offences Act, Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2021 is now read the third time and passed.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to thank the honourable members for supporting and assisting us to pass the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2021, particularly the chairman of the committee, who is a co-sponsor of this particular bill. Mr. Speaker, all over the world, attempted suicide is being decriminalized in the sense that life is one. For you to decide to take your life, it means you are either going through a psychological problem as a result of which you cannot appreciate the nature and quality of the act. So
thank you very much.
I thank the committee, all the members of Parliament for supporting us to pass this particular important
Very well. The House also appreciates your effort. Thank you very much. Yes. Leader, are we doing one or two?
I think that we as leaders will plead with you and help you to see affairs of this House. The ranking member for the Education Committee and the chair and the two deputies have been here all day. I want to plead with my colleagues. Let's just do the first clause. I think there are 4 clauses, just that, and we can adjourn to tomorrow. Speaker. So item 30 on page 20.
Well, honorable members, just bear with us. We will not take much of your time. Indeed, we are all mourning, but we have a business to do. So I will invite all of you humbly to page 20. Page 20, item listed 30. Ghana Commission for UNESCO Bill 2022 at the consideration stage. We will begin from cross 2, the chairman of the committee. Cross. Well, we will start from cross 1, I'm sorry.
Establishment of the Ghana Commission for UNESCO.
Honourable members, all those in favor of cross 1 say aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. Cross 1 stands part of the bill. We now turn to cross 2.
Object of the Commission.
Yes. Is there any amendment? Yes, Chairman.
Proposed. Line 3. Delete alleviation and insert alleviation, comma. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Well. Any amendment, seconder? Honourable members, this is just a punctuation. So I'll put the question. All those in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The proposed amendment is hereby adopted. Cross 3.
Functions of the Commission.
Chairman, please speak to the mic for me.
Yeah. Line 1. Delete carry out the aims and objectives and insert perform the functions.
Chairman, hold on.
Yeah, Mr.
Chairman.
Speaker, this is on behalf of Honorable
Harun
Idris.
Well. Honourable members, there is a proposed amendment in the name of Honourable Harun Idrisu. And the chairman has dutifully do that on his behalf. Is there any issue? Then I'll put the question. All those in favor of the proposed amendment to clause 2, say aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The proposed amendment is hereby adopted. Honourable members, clause 2 as variously amended. All those in favor say aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, clause 2 as variously amended is hereby adopted. We now turn to clause 3.
Functions of the Commission.
Hold on. Yes.
Mr. Speaker,
Ranking.
It seems what we are doing is different from the copy I have here. Because following the proposed amendment from alleviation, clause 2, if you look at it, alleviation, there's no alleviation in clause 2. There's no word alleviation over there. Alleviation in clause 2. I don't know if my bill is different from, the copy of my bill is different from others.
Chairman, are you with your ranking?
I didn't hear my ranking. Ranking, can you repeat what you said?
Okay, my attention has been drawn to it, so Mr. Speaker, we can continue.
So you've abandoned
But
that.
delete carry out the aims and objectives and insert perform the functions. To me, they are two different things. So,
yes.
I thought he's raising an issue with regard to the very first clause. That states that clause 2, amendment proposed, line 3, delete alleviation and insert alleviation. What is being deleted is the same as what is being inserted. Okay.
Very well. So, honorable members, we turn to clause 3. Clause 3, Chairman.
Functions of the Commission.
Amendment proposed, paragraph F, line 1, delete cooperation and insert cooperation. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Delete cooperation and insert cooperation. Very well. Honorable members, there is a proposed amendment to clause 3. Yes, Honorable Podo.
Mr. Speaker, the word which is to be inserted, I am looking at the spelling. Cooperation. I think when we use the English language proper, there is a hyphen between CO and operation. There is a hyphen in English. What is optional? That is what I have seen. If you go to Wikipedia now, you will find the same thing.
Honorable members, the Honorable Podo is proposing a hyphen between the. That's old.
Mr. Speaker, that was his errors.
That is error.
The modern era is corporations.
Yes. Honorable members, there is a proposed amendment to delete cooperation and insert cooperation. All those in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All those against say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The proposed amendment is carried. Yes, IV, clause 3. Chairman.
Amendment proposed, paragraph 1, line 1, delete objects and insert object. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
So it means we are making a single, eh? Honorable members, there is a proposed amendment to delete objects and insert object. All those in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All those against say no. Honorable members, the proposed amendment, the ayes have it, and the proposed amendment is hereby adopted. Now, clause 3 as variously amended. All those in favor say aye. All those against say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. Clause 3 as variously amended is hereby adopted. Clause 4.
Organs of the Commission.
Honorable members, all those in favor that clause 4 stands part of the bill say aye. All those against say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. Clause 4 stands part of the bill. Clause 5.
Establishment of the General Assembly of the Commission.
Yes, Chairman.
Amendment proposed. Subclause 3, paragraph C. Delete and insert the following. As advertised on page 21. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Honorable members, there is a proposed amendment to 5, and the amendment has been advertised in today's order paper. All those in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All those against say no. Honorable members, the proposed amendment is adopted. Chairman, clause 5, VI.
If you agree, there, move.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask your permission to once again move it for Honorable Idrisu Haruna.
Very well.
Amendment proposed, subclause 3, paragraph D, delete delegate and insert representative. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, there is a proposed amendment that stands the name of Honorable Member for Tamale Central Haruna Idrisu
And the amendment is to delete delegate and insert representative. Honorable members, all those in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. Honorable members, if you are here, you are not contributing. The only way you can contribute is to respond. Honorable members, all those in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All those against say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The proposed amendment is adopted. Honorable members, clause 5 as variously amended. Oh, okay. More provisions, clause 5. Let's finish. Leader, let's deal with clause 5 and yes, Chairman. VII clause 5.
Amendment proposed. Subclause 3, paragraph F, line 2. Before committees, insert program specialized. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, there is a proposed amendment to clause 5 to insert program specialized. All those in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment is adopted. VIII, clause 5. Chairman.
Amendment proposed. Subclause 3. Add the following new paragraph. A representative of the National House of Chiefs, nominated by the President of the National House of Chiefs. And I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, there is a proposed amendment. All those in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The proposed amendment is hereby adopted. IX clause 5. Chairman.
Sorry. Amendment proposed. Subclause 3, paragraph 1. Delete and insert the following.
As advertised.
As advertised, Mr. Speaker, on page 22. I so move.
Well. Honourable members, there is a proposed amendment to clause 3 and the amendment has been advertised in page 22. All those in favor of the proposed advertised amendment say aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The proposed amendment advertised in page 22 is hereby adopted. X, clause 5. Chairman.
Amendment proposed. Subclause 5. Delete.
Delete. That is all. Yes. Honourable members, there is a proposed amendment to delete. All those in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The proposed amendment is hereby adopted. Honourable members, I'll put clause 5 as variously amended. All those in favor that clause 5 as variously amended stands part of the bill say aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, the proposed amendment variously advertised in clause 5 is hereby adopted.
Speaker, with respect, we just do the last clause, XI, and we'll be done.
What? 6. Very well. So, Chairman, 6.
Functions of the General Assembly.
Amendment proposed. Paragraph A, line 1. Delete state and insert president. I so move. On behalf of Honorable Haruna Idrisu.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, there is a proposed amendment by Honorable Haruna Idrisu and it has been taken by the chairman of the committee. And the amendment is to the effect
that we should delete state and insert president. All those in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The proposed amendment to delete state and insert president is hereby adopted. Are we to move on?
No, Speaker, end of consideration. End of consideration, Speaker.
Chairman, let me hear you from cross 7.
Amendment proposed, subclause 2, add the following, and any other person who is a member of the General Assembly by virtue of office of that person. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, there is a proposed amendment to cross 7. All those in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, the proposed amendment, this proposed amendment is adopted. Cross 8.
Speaker, end of consideration. Speaker, end of consideration.
Honourable members, you are in my hands.
Yes.
We will close appropriately. Chairman of the committee, let me hear you cross 8.
Speaker.
I'm doing the cross 8.
We have to prepare.
I am doing the cross 8.
Speaker, we plead with you.
Leader, I'm doing the cross 8. I've already called. Please.
Let's try to negotiate.
Leader, I'm doing cross 8.
Amendment.
Chairman, let me hear you cross 8.
Amendment proposed, subclause 2, line 3. Before time, delete the and insert.
Honourable members, there is a proposed amendment to before time delete and insert a. All those in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The proposed amendment is carried. 8IV. SIV.
Amendment proposed. Subclause 3, line 1. Delete 15 and insert 1/3 of the. I so move.
Honourable members, there is a proposed amendment to delete 15 and insert 1/3. All those in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The proposed amendment is hereby adopted. And finally, XV, cross 8.
Amendment proposed, subclause 5, line 2. Delete present and. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, there is a proposed amendment. All those in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The proposed amendment is hereby carried. Honourable members, let me put cross 8 as variously amended. All those in favor that cross 8 as variously amended stands part of the bill say aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The proposed amendment variously advertising to clause 8 is hereby adopted. Now, leadership, now you can talk to me.
Speaker, I think
No, we haven't gotten there.
in the fullness of time, we will deal with this matter. Speaker, we can now adjourn. I think we've dealt with all we want, even beyond what we agreed to do.
So honourable members, even though we still have some clauses to do, we will end the consideration stage at this time. Yes, leader.
Speaker, we should be adjourning.
Honourable Wager, let me hear you.
Mr. Speaker, We want to help you manage the house. And we want to encourage you to continue to help us manage the house. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We are in your hands.
Anyway, if I have offended you, please pardon me. For the good of the house and for the good of the country, you therefore bring proceedings to a close and adjourn the house to tomorrow 10 o'clock in the forenoon. Tomorrow 10 o'clock in the forenoon. I thank you for your cooperation. The house stands adjourned.